And joining us now to talk more about this, U.S. Navy weapons system and air defense expert Sean Van Diver. Sean, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks so much, Ben. Glad to be here.
All right. Well, first of all, tell us about what you know today's events, where we currently kind of stand in the war and what's going on.
Sure. So as you just reported, for the first time, Iran has shot down a couple U.S. aircraft. One was an F-15 fighter aircraft. The other was an A-10 Warthog. Engaged in search and rescue efforts for one of these pilots. The U.S. was able to get one of the pilots out, but there still remains a pilot on the ground. Now, Ben, when this happens, more lives end up at risk, right? Because in the United States of America, in the United States military, we leave no one behind. So right now, there's an American on the ground in Iran, desperate to find safety. Now, we have a lot of great training. A lot of that training happens over here. Survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. SEER training teaches pilots how to, if they get shot down in enemy territory, how to survive, how to escape, how to make sure that if they meet an enemy or somebody looking for them, to resist, and then how to make sure that they're able to ultimately get out.
So that's the pilot's perspective. Tell us more about the search and rescue operation, though, in enemy territory and the dangers that come with that. Well,
it's really dangerous, right? Generally, when you're going in to an air operation, an air mission, they don't know you're coming. Now, the speaker in Iran and a bunch of Iranian leadership have essentially put a bounty on the head of this pilot, right? So now, not only are there scores of people on the ground looking for this pilot, there's all of Iranian's air defense, all of the Iranian air defense systems, all of their militaries trained on the aircraft that are overhead looking for this pilot, and that means that more American lives are at risk. In fact, probably a lot of San Diegan lives are at risk right now.
President Trump has said he doesn't think this is going to impact the negotiations with Iran. Do you think that that will be the case?
Generally, my approach is that if President Trump is saying something, it's probably not true, or it's a half-truth. So who knows? Iran says they're not even negotiating right now, right? Qatar doesn't want to be the mediator. They broke down. The recent negotiations have broken down. So look, sure, it won't impact negotiations that aren't ongoing, but the truth is that this war had no actual purpose. We're in this war that, for 47 years, people in America have thought about going to war with Iran, and we haven't for good reason. So I'm a little bit worried about every American service member that is downrange right now. I'm worried about the families that are waiting with rapt attention to their phones, hoping that a call doesn't come, that their loved one has been captured in Iran, hoping that they don't get a call that their loved one is dead. It's a really scary time for a lot of Americans, and when you layer on the gas prices that are going up, all the cost of goods that are going up, it seems like it was a really foolish thing to do to get us into this war.
You talk about the families. Obviously, San Diego, a very large military community here, lots of families. What's the impact from so many thousands of miles away here in San Diego, in your opinion?
Well, look, San Diego is a military town. The largest concentration of military forces in the world call San Diego home, which means that chances are there's San Diegans involved in this effort right now, looking for this pilot. Hopefully, this pilot is not, or it's a sort of not a pilot, a flight officer that's there. Hopefully, they're not a San Diegan, right? And look, the people that we send downrange, our leaders have got to be worthy of that decision, right? And right now, Secretary Hegseth hasn't proven worthy of his station right now. President Trump, it doesn't seem like they're taking this very seriously, and that should give pause to everybody who's watching this war, right? And make no mistake about it, this is not some game. People's lives are at stake. We've lost 13 American service members already. That's how many service members we lost on the way out of Afghanistan. And what we heard when President Biden was president was Republicans calling for blood for those families. And the worst thing that can happen is politicizing our military. And I just keep seeing that happen, and it just, as a veteran, it makes me really upset.
I know you had a long day that started in Washington, D.C. Really appreciate you coming in and spending a few minutes with us. U.S. Navy weapons systems expert, defense expert Sean Van Diver, thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much, Ben.